All right, everyone, welcome back into another live stream here for preseason here. Pretty excited with this one. Getting a decent amount of news coming in right now. Got some comments coming in as well. Love it here. So we got a question already. Is Chris Brooks playing? I haven't seen anything suggesting that he is not going to play. I do think it's interesting, and we can kind of start with this as well. And I think it kind of leads into it a little bit here, is we did get some kind of strange prop line movement today with Jalen Wright. So pick six, his line started out at 28.5, which personally I would think is probably correct. But the fact that PrizePicks and Underdog have bumped it up as much as they had is definitely strange. So we know running back wise for Miami that they are going to be pretty thin at running back. Like that has not changed. So I think that's a volume thing. I think a lot of people are excited for Jalen Wright to play. So I think it's a volume thing that people are just excited. So they naturally had to bump that one up. But we're still looking at Ahmed. We're still looking at Chris Brooks. I would still believe. This is a pretty awesome comment. Digging the tunes. I made that. I didn't really. I generated that with AI, but it was my input. So that's a nice comment there. I appreciate it. But I do want to talk about some news items that we got as well. I need to fix the camera overlay on a couple of these slides. But anyways, we got some news on the Atlanta Falcons. So I do want to start with this as well. So we know that Michael Penix is going to play. Like that's not a shock to anyone. We already kind of figured that was going to happen. But in terms of a lot of the Falcons that are going to be out tonight, we got some confirmation on some players. So players that are out. Let's just pull this up as well. Again, I need to fix this darn camera. It's going to bother me here, guys. It really is. Give me 1 second. I got to correct this. It's still not good. Apologies here, guys. This is terrible. Better. All right. So apologies for that. But looking at Atlanta, so yes, we know Michael Penix is going to play. Everyone's going to be excited to watch him play. He's going to play a lot. But in terms of players that are confirmed out, Darnell Mooney is out. Ray McLeod is out. Kyle Pitts is out. Tyler Algier is out. Kirk Cousins is out. We know that Drake London is out. Bijan Robinson is out. So that is good. Any other kind of skill position players? Not that I am seeing. So that does kind of answer some questions. I was really struggling DFS wise to find players that I want to stack Michael Penix with. And I think we kind of got our answer now through the tea leaves because of this. So Hodge is someone that we can kind of look at. He's an okay player. I'm not too fond of like going crazy with him DFS wise, but the player that I think we naturally get on a lot more is now going to be Casey Washington. He's a younger guy that I like targeting these younger guys that can get open. He's kind of a quicker guy, quick twitch guy. He's not someone that's more of a downfield guy, which is obviously nice to target as well. But I like these guys where we can kind of lock in like 2 targets at least as a floor. That's really my goal. And I think he does do that for us. So I was trying to stack Penix again. And so he's kind of a player that I was led to because of that. But yeah, it's nice that we got some of that information here. And then let's see, do we have any more information for the Falcons? I think that's pretty much it. I mean, there's some defensive players that are going to be out as well that I'm not too worried about as well. Wow, Cordero Patterson is active for tonight's game for Pittsburgh. That is interesting. Very interesting there. And guys, what I find fascinating about Pittsburgh as well is Plumlee is actually doing the whole return thing as well. So it's just kind of an interesting note. The quarterback is doing some return stuff there. But Cordero Patterson back. Kind of annoying. I don't actually like that there. Yeah. Let's see here. I'm just again just refreshing the news. We're actually getting a decent amount of news tonight. I think we got some Miami stuff here as well. So give me a second here. This could be good. Let's go back to Miami here. All right, so Tua's going to be out. Mostert's going to be out. Achan's going to be out. Hill's going to be out. Waddle's going to be out. So no surprises there, at least. So yeah, again, I don't really know why this line changed for Jalen Warren. To me, that is still something that is kind of strange. So I do want to go ahead and get into some props. I want to start out with the pick six cheat sheet here. So let's go ahead and jump into that. And again, this screen is bothering me so much. I don't know how this occurred. I'm editing on the fly here, guys. There we go. A little bit better there. But yeah, so getting back into it, guys. So pick six, we know that we should be targeting Jalen Wright for his under. Or sorry, Jalen Wright for his over on pick six. That's just going to be the route that we should be going because, again, that line should not be like that. That's a very good line that we are getting now with him. A lot of people are liking him today. And so I think that's just the spot where naturally we're doing his over. We're doing the more for Jalen right there on pick six. You know, if everyone's wrong, and again, I'm saying everyone because I think that was a volume bet that people were on. I'm kind of okay with that. And then just naturally, this could be a spot where you are betting the under as well. I did end up doing it when it was at 40.5 a little bit earlier today. I did tweet that out. If you guys are not following me on Twitter, make sure to do so. But from there, we got like Michael Penix as well. We've seen his prop lines kind of adjust throughout the day, as I kind of expected. And we saw Mike White's kind of come up as well to even out. It makes sense. Again, I kind of touched on that on today's video, I think, prop wise. I think it was today's video. Yeah, it was this morning's video. But now these two are kind of more naturally even. Again, I don't mind the idea of, all right, Jalen Wright with Michael Penix under, Jalen Wright with, sorry. Jalen Wright over on pick six. We're focused on pick six here. And then doing the under for Penix. And then you could also toss in Mike White. We are getting some more as well. Jace as well. His line has went up throughout the day, which I'm a little bit surprised by. People are liking him. Mechie's as well. His line has actually decreased throughout the day. That's interesting. And then Malik Cunningham, I kind of mentioned, I found it super strange that his line went from 50, it was at 21.5 to start the day. It went down to 15.5. I thought that was really strange. And now it's at 13.5. He is going to get some playing time in this game. It's just whether or not they kind of really trust him to get targets, I guess. But I think they're going to try to get a look at him. This is a natural game for someone like him to get some playing time. And we have seen the Ravens kind of test out players like this in the past in the preseason. So I think this is weather based. I think a lot of people are worried about the weather. The last reports that I saw, it wasn't apparent that the weather was going to be a massive issue like it was seemingly going to be, I guess, earlier on today, or could have been earlier on today, I guess is the better way to describe it. So we do have some more questions coming in. Let's go ahead and jump into some of those. Then I'll get into a little bit more of the breakdown here. So yeah, so favorite receivers. I like this. That's a good question. So favorite receivers, regardless of stacking. Um, so I do hope that we get some more news. I want to start with that, but I have not been able to pass up on Malik Washington for Miami. And then Sanders as well. I don't think many people are on Sanders today, so I think that's going to be kind of an edge spot for you guys and me as well. Again, I think Casey Washington is going to be a player that I get some more exposure to now, just kind of because of that news. I don't exactly love Houston and Pittsburgh. I am getting Xavier Hutchinson. I am getting Mechie a little bit. But we know that the starters are going to play in that game. Some of the Pittsburgh Steelers starters are going to start as well. Same thing for Philly. I know some Philly fans are kind of upset that some of their stars are playing, but kind of oh well. The player that I still like the most, though, is going to be for Philly and kind of my, I guess, 3A receiver, because I'm going with those two Miami receivers. But my third option, I would put him slightly above Casey Washington, who I'm getting to a little bit now. Johnny Wilson, he's kind of the slot receiver. He's been getting a decent amount of hype out of camp. And I think it just makes logical sense for him as a play. But this is a weird slate, guys. We do not have as many obvious plays today. And so here's a follow-up question. Any love for Austin Mack? This is a slate where I wouldn't blame anyone for going with someone like Austin Mack. I'm kind of okay with that. Is Jeff Wilson playing? I guess he wasn't a part of the name group that I just mentioned, right? I would doubt that he's playing. I don't think we're too worried about him playing, even if he does. Let me just see if we got any updates there as well. I don't think so. But I'm not too worried about that. Sure, you could fall into the end zone kind of like Cam Akers did, but I'm not too worried about that. Thoughts on Diggs? I kind of mentioned this on a couple of the videos. I think I'd rather go if I'm chasing some starters that are playing for a series or two. I think I'd rather go the Steelers. Just it's a trend line thing. I'm not even saying that the past is going to be predictive of the results, but it's just one of those things where it's continuously happened. Like the past 6 preseasons, where literally the player you would play for the Steelers has went off and had a touchdown. And it's like one target, a 60-yard touchdown. It almost seems like by design, is kind of my point there. So, um, again, I don't want to talk anyone out of a play. If you're settling on Diggs, just make sure he's playing. I'm pretty sure he is, but I don't really like that. I don't really like going there. Any favorite PrizePicks plays where the lines are at now? So, yeah, let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of PrizePicks as well here. Got some line movement as well. So let me just refresh the data on my end as well. So give me a second here. We should be good, actually. We should be good. Let me see. So yeah, I actually think now Michael Penix at his line is a pretty good one. I kind of got some action on him a little bit for his unders this morning when it was at 111, and again, you can still do that on pick 6. So I kind of like the idea of his overs. What is that? Like 51 and a half, 52 passing yards almost per quarter. Again, he's probably going to play a half. Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that. We don't really have to worry about the rushing too much. I think I'd be okay with that. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably confirmation bias here, but I'm kind of a sucker for Malik Cunningham at 13.5 receiving yards. Again, we don't exactly like that game. If you guys don't want to run that one out, I kind of get it. Looking at, Jace McLean. If you guys are playing NFL DFS, he's someone that the day is liking more and more as the day has progressed. We did get Davis Price. I actually don't mind that 22.5 now on PrizePicks. I believe he wasn't available on Underdog. Akers has came up a little bit. Jordan's is about the same. That's steadied. So yeah, probably just, man, that's a lot for Jace. It feels like. I know they're only running out 3 running backs, but and honestly, Jalen Wright just that it's down now 2 yards. It's just a high number, and I get he's an explosive player, but I'm kind of worried about that. It does appear that they are. The two Dolphins quarterbacks are splitting. Do I like one more than the other? No. It's just a guessing game. Like if you're doing a single entry, I think Mike White is going to be a little bit higher simply because when we look at the props here, he's got higher yards. So I think people are naturally just going to play Mike White a little bit more. You could gain some leverage by going Skylar Thompson. Again, I hope to get confirmation on playing time here, but I don't know. I think really what I'm worried about right now is just getting the DNPs and stuff like that a little bit more so here. Let's see. I don't have a good playing time allocation for the Texans. It's a guessing game, honestly, for Pierce. I'm guessing he's I could see him getting an additional series than what the starters are going to do. With those starters, you're obviously you're trying to chase a touchdown. Could it happen with him? Sure. Like I don't hate it. Like you're probably not going to get 0. I haven't seen anything for Watkins Jr. at all this preseason. So it's a weird slate, guys, in terms of like hype. And so again, this is like one of those players where I wouldn't talk you out of it. Like I wouldn't say go crazy with it, but if he's like your 5th highest owned receiver, I really don't mind it. And Mike Harley as well was someone that for the Browns was popping up. He's getting some love. I don't know. I like Nada a little bit better for the Eagles. I believe that's how you say his name. I like him a little bit better, but at the same time, if that game is going to be partially rainy, I don't think we want to go too crazy with any receivers from that game. So be a little bit cautious about that. Favorite play on Underdog. So yeah, let's go ahead and pull up Underdog here. Again, let me just refresh that here as well. Give me a second. I refreshed it before the video, so I don't know why the line's already grayed out. Come on, Underdog. There we go. All right. Here we go. This is a little bit better. So yeah, looking at it, let's see. Are we getting any edges here? So yeah, I still like Underdog a little bit more just because we are getting those rush receive yards. So like Jordan, I'm still okay with. I still think that's pretty solid. Cam Akers has come up a little bit. So I tweeted this one out as well. So we got Plumlee. They bumped it up to 16.5. So this was going to be. I had this one written down. It was at 13.5 for his rush yards, and I mentioned I was just going to do a sucker bet on that. I'm like, all right, they gave me the line. I'm pretty convinced. Underdog employee who's watching the prop line video. And it's like, all right, well, we'll put that line out there, get some volume on it. Now it's at 16.5. That's kind of too high. Personally, I would have thought the line would be at 9.5. That's annoying. That's annoying. He is someone that pulls the football and should get about a quarter a play. That's honestly pretty tilting there, guys. Nathan Rourke getting 60 yards. That's interesting. Oh, we got some reception props. All right, Carlos Washington. Wow, guys. So DFS wise, Carlos Washington. Just look at that. And now Jace as well, 32.5 for his rush receive yards. So wow. It's more of a DFS thing, but I already set a rule DFS, and I know this is an Underdog question, but I already set a rule where I was doing one of Jalen Wright. I'll kind of pull that up here. I'll get back into the Underdog question, I promise. One of Jalen Wright, Chris Brooks, and Ahmed. And then for Atlanta, I was doing one of Williams, Jace, and Washington. Might need to do might need to lock in like two of those players. Now, just it already seemed like they were going to get a lot of work. That's just fascinating though that line came up. So any other Underdog prop bets that I like? Jones is only at 13.5 rush yards. He's someone that can rush the football. Not terrible. Will Shipley, 1.5 receptions is certainly interesting there. I don't get the kind of hate, if you will, for Davis Price. I think he's someone that's going to have a good game. It's not that many carries there. Man, that's super tilting about Plumlee, though. It's annoying. All right, so let's jump back into some questions here. We are coming up. We should, in a few minutes, get some injury reports as well, typically half an hour before lock. Chris Collier playing time. I think he's just going to naturally split. He's someone I do have exposure to on the slate. The issue I just mentioned on the slate, I was going with a pretty heavy Miami and Atlanta running back share. The issue with the slate is, in terms of like historically speaking, the Eagles and the Ravens are two teams you should be targeting pretty heavily for the running backs. And so that was kind of my constraint against that, is that I want to get the workhorse running back out of one of these two teams. I know a lot of Underdog and kind of I personally like Ali a little bit better, but I wouldn't talk you out of it. I think they're all going to split. So it could be a way to get a little bit of advantage. Yes and no. It's the way I look at this, and this is a great question. Obviously, we are chasing playing time. That's going to be key for sure when we're doing these prop bets. We want that, but I kind of look at it as, all right, who are these good players that are going to be going against backups that can take advantage of those poor matchups while also gaining a lot of playing time? That's kind of the way I like to look at it a little bit more. So, like even yesterday, I was like with Joe Milton for over his passing yards, I was somewhat wrong about the playing time, but I was correct about he's going against 4 stringers. He's going to be someone that will get a deep ball attempt or 2 in there. And that's obviously preseason DFS is you're trying to get the process down as right as possible. And so I would look at it more of that. And kind of the way you do that is just kind of by getting the hype from a bunch of beat reporters and kind of just naturally with my eyes, I'll watch a bunch of highlights and stuff on Twitter. Yeah, so Michael Penix over his passing yards. I do like that one. That'd be one I would go with. RB playing time upside besides right. I mean, there's so many on this slate. That's kind of the issue. So let's go over again. So running back guys here. So Baltimore, it's honestly one of these 3. Owen Wright, Collier, or Alley. They're all good options. It's kind of a guessing game there. Same thing with Philly here. They have Davis Price, just remember, so he's not available on DraftKings. But Lou Nichols, I'm not getting into, so I am naturally getting to Will Shipley. We did just see his reception of 1.5. I kind of like that. For Pittsburgh and Houston, Pittsburgh is a team that I could see them potentially running Ward or Edwards into the ground. They have done that in the past where they'll take a practice squad running back and just go heavy with them. I mean, we've seen that in the past. So that's kind of the annoying part of targeting Atlanta and Miami. Houston, I'm not really targeting too much. There's just too many mouths to feed, I would say. And so again, for Miami, I'm getting to Chris Brooks, I'm getting to, and then Atlanta now for sure. We should be getting to Washington and Jace a little bit more. Let's see here. For Plumlee, I really want to do his over rush yards, but now that's at 16.5. That's a little bit too high because we don't know what his playing time is going to be for sure. I'm assuming that he's going to get a quarter, but at 16.5 rush yards, even if he gets 3 rush attempts, we're really hoping on him breaking a play. And it is preseason. The defense is a little bit more susceptible to kind of those random backyards football type plays. So it wouldn't be surprising for him to get that over, but the 3-yard difference that we're seeing there now, I'm not excited for that. Yeah, so the Eagles D is going to have their starters. So I do think you should be targeting Eagles D. And really, I am targeting the defense for these 2 teams the most. We already saw that this was the lowest scoring game on the slate, Eagles versus Philly. And let's just double check that. Let me go to the sportsbook screen here. Go to NFL, just make sure that's still true. Yeah. Yeah, so in total for the preseason games that we have left, one of the lowest game totals. And that's a little bit due to weather. So I just kind of naturally went with those. I'm probably too high, honestly. I'm like 35 Philly, 35 Ravens, and then just even split between the rest of the defenses. Because obviously, like a random defensive touchdown can really change the slate. Let's see here. Our 2 receivers. Ryan, I was asking myself this same question. Oh man, so it's like this is honestly kind of like my base build that I had going. Whether it's Mike White or Skylar Thompson, it doesn't really matter. And then I was going Jalen Wright and Chris Brooks. I like Chris Brooks, I think, a lot more than the industry, just because whenever we have seen him play, he has looked like a stud straight up. So I've been going with more of that. And then again, I think there's a little bit more predictability in the receivers, and also, this is like part of it as well, we don't have to chase that potential rain game. Now, I see there's a little rain in the radar here. I think it was like 20% versus like 40%. Now, that I checked that like 4 hours ago, so that could be a little bit different. But yeah, like honestly, even Sanders here I was going with, and then tight end wise, Connor, like it's like, all right, what do we do from there? And then it's like running back wise, okay, we got Carlos Washington in there, and then receiver, I was going with Johnny Wilson, and then it's just picking between Philly or Baltimore. So like that's kind of been a path that I've been doing a decent amount, and I don't mind it. I think it's pretty solid. Let's see here. Yeah, this is a phenomenal question. Cash here. I don't know. I think it's the best example of it. Like Tim Boyle, like, do they want to give him a little bit more playing time because the 4th quarter was cut out? I don't really know. Is this answer? I kind of think Davis Mills will close out the first half, and then Case Keenum will go until they get a good enough look on him. I think is the best way to sum it up. So maybe Case Keenum goes out and balls out in the first drive or two. Then he gets pulled. A lot of the times, and kind of D'Amico Ryan's kind of in his pressers that I was listening to this morning, kind of was saying that. So, and what I mean by that is like we want to get looks at players, is what I mean. So, yeah, that's a good question. I honestly, I don't exactly know. Yeah, so it's raining hard at the Ravens game. So what I saw is that and if one of you guys want to look this up, that'd be awesome. By lineup lock, it wasn't supposed to be too bad, but that just kind of furthers that we should be going with the Ravens and Baltimore defenses because, well, it's going to be a sloppy game probably. And it's already the lowest game total. So we want to be doing that. And that does limit my exposure then to Philly and Baltimore a little bit more offensively. Huh. Let's see if we can see why they might have taken him off. And I think that's because of the weather. And so that's where, honestly, can you ask me this question in like 15 minutes from now? And I'll give you a better answer on that. I want to see if they put those prop bets back on the board is really what I want to see there. But I'm guessing it is because of that weather there. So definitely something to pay attention to there. All right, so I'm just trying to refresh the data on my end as well here. And then I do want to talk about tight ends for DFS as well. And then we'll get back into some pick six stuff as well. So tight ends for DraftKings tonight, it feels like to me a very condensed slate. So Connor is a player that's been getting a lot of hype for Miami. He's very easy to stack. Atlanta, I haven't been able to get to as much, which is a little bit annoying because we do want to stack Penix with a tight end probably, but I haven't been able to. I still think for Houston, Cade Stover is someone we want to be getting exposure to. He had a pretty good game in the first game, could get a little bit more playing time in this game. Brevin Jordan was someone that was banged up. I'm not seeing anything saying that he's going to be out, though. So a little bit interesting there, I would say. And from there, Philly, like, do we want to be targeting players from Philly now? That's the question. I don't really think so. And Baltimore, I don't mind Washington. I don't mind Charlie Collar. And then obviously you have Isaiah Likely there. I want to see, we should be getting Baltimore injury reports here. And I'm just looking. Not seeing anything from their beat reporters just yet. That is a little bit of a later game, though, which does suck. So obviously it's like an hour before that game starts. So a little bit annoying there in terms of playing time and playing time prediction. That's a good question. I like that thought process. That's an awesome thought process there. I can't blame you. I mean, that's a good thought process. I like that there. That does remind me. I think we got some kicker news. I think the Steelers are like having 3 kickers tonight. So just as an FYI, yeah, I kind of like that idea. Like, why would they risk him kicking in that rain? That is a great thought process there. I like that. And same thing with Jake Elliott. Like maybe it's not too bad, but like I would say they're pretty susceptible to getting injured, more so than really any other position too. So that's good. I like that. It's a good call. Favorite 2 receivers. So I'm assuming this is a DFS question. For me, it is the Miami receivers. I think they're a little bit more predictable. Washington and also Sanders. But I have warmed up to Casey Washington as well for the Falcons. I think that's where I'm going today for sure. Yeah, so B-Day Davis is agreeing as well. I like that thought process a lot there as well with the kickers. That's solid. All right, so let's see here. Let me refresh some stuff on mine, and then we'll see if we're getting any more pick six edges here as well, prop wise. If you guys have any questions, get those in as well. As always, happy to answer those. Honestly, the toughest part about today's slate, I know yesterday I mentioned that like for DFS purposes, I wasn't really playing running backs in the flex. I think today's slate we should be playing a running back in the flex just because we have a lot of good spots. I wouldn't say we have a lot of like locks or anything like that, but we have a lot of good spots here. All right, so interesting here. Is this still up? I need to see here. So I think we got a prop line difference here for Mike White now as well. Finally coming down more as I think it should be. Sorry about that. That's all right. So yeah, let's see here. I'll pull it up. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So Mike White now, guys. All right. And so this is something if you guys are, I mean, a little bit of a milling opportunity here as well. Off by 12. So this is a spot where it's super strange that this is happening as much as it is. But now we got an opportunity to bet the over on Mike White here for his passing yards. And then we could easily just run out the under on pick 6. Like this literally becomes the best bet that we have on the board today is Mike White under his passing yards on pick 6. And so we're still are doing Jalen Wright for his over rush yards on pick 6. But that's fascinating to me. That is very interesting there. And then for what it's worth, I want to see. I had a check 51. That's insane, guys. I need to do a quick Twitter search on my phone here. What is going on? Like, is Chris Brooks out? I don't know. That's insane. 51 rushing receiving yards? That should not be happening. It's fascinating that it's the NFL here. We should be getting updates on players like this, and we're not, which is just insane. I love typing in a running back in the NFL that's a stud. And it's a freaking random person that's pulling up on my Twitter feed. That's insane. I mean, is it really telling us? And again, guys, this is obviously a pick 6 bet here. Jalen Wright over his rush yards, 28.5, and then we could do his under on underdog. I mean, that's just a great middle. Like, that's teed up for us. That is crazy. And these lines are kind of really high. They're a little bit shocking, honestly. Like Carlos Washington, 42.5. That just tells us we should be playing him a lot in DFS. And honestly, guys, I'm going to have to end this video in like 7 minutes. So if you have any more questions, get those in because based off of the projections, and I don't think we should like go too crazy. Like these are kind of the projections, but I do need to make a little bit of updates to my lineups that I put out there. I had a decent amount out there. So like Carlos Washington, Jalen Wright, they're going to be the easy plays DFS wise. Just you got to be playing them now. Let's see. I want to compare some of these lines. And the reason I have to do this is because obviously it's rush and receiving yards. It's a little bit different verbiage between the two sites. Again, if you were trying to chase Ahmed, you'd be doing his over on underdog there because of the rush receive yards. Ali has one up a decent amount. Owen Wright is still pretty high. It's surprising that these have went up a lot. P. Ryan, I still don't mind. It's a low number. All right. One of my favorite picks. Are you just talking about in general or for the slate? That's a big question. Because in general, I'll pull it up here, get the pick 6 optimizer going here as well. It's probably going to be the same as underdog for the most part. There we go. Under here. That's what we're running out there. That's the best one that we have. Kyle Schwarber over his hitting fantasy score. We got an over pitching fantasy score. And then that's probably a little Bryce Harper you could do, but that's a little bit too low. For football, honestly, it's probably more unders now, but let's see. I like Penix. That's still dropping. That is surprising to me there. That is interesting. I mean, if Kenny Pickett and Tanner Mackey are going to play about a half of football, that's pretty low. At least a quarter and let's just say 33% of the game, which I do think they will. That's kind of low for them. Albert O getting some lines is interesting there. All right. So real quickly, I know I mentioned I probably do need to get out of here pretty soon. I wouldn't touch that one, honestly, just because it's so high now, 30.5. Again, I do think there's a great chance that he gets a heavy workload. Like one of these Baltimore running backs are probably going to get 10 carries, and I like his talent a lot. Like I liked his rush and receiving yards earlier on today. Because he can kind of do both. Like he would be my pick if we had to choose one that's going to go off. But it could be right. It could be Collier. I could be wrong about that. We don't have any indication of who that's going to be just yet, which is a little bit unfortunate. So honestly, that is one where I don't want to give you a lean because I think that's the correct line there. Which is it's a little bit unfortunate. It's a good line. And I thought I had some news that just popped up, but no, not really. Receiver to pair with Pittsburgh quarterback. I did a little bit of Calvin Austin. I think there's a chance that he's going to play a series or two. It's not going to be that much, but he's been pretty good in camp. He'd be the one I would go with, and then I kind of sprinkled in some Quez Watkins. That's really it. I didn't go too crazy with it. That's awesome that you had Gray. So I didn't have nearly as much as I did. After the video, I realized I had a few Blackshear lineups left. And so I got like a few more of Gray in there. And then basically all just, I couldn't do Boone was the issue. And so I was like mixing and matching. I mostly went, was it Miller, Dante Miller for the Giants, which worked out. And then Jennings as well was the other player I got to a lot as well. That's awesome. Nice call out. Nice call. See, this is why I love the chat, guys. We got people giving some input on some props. I do appreciate it. That's awesome. Favorite 5 picks on Underdog. So again, we are going to defer to the cheat sheet here with these questions. Like, we got a bunch of decent ones in MLB today, so like we want to be targeting those ones a little bit more. So I know this is more of a NFL question. And again, I should probably make a list while I'm doing this video. But Jalen Wright, I mean, that's just such a massive number. And I just love the fact that we can middle it on pick 6. I mean, 51.5 rush received yards, that's a lot. I like the idea of running out the under there. That's just crazy high. Even like Carlos Washington, 42.5. That's just crazy high now. And is Carlos Washington available on pick 6? I didn't even check. I don't think so. Yeah, he's not. But even like Jace as well, that's another middle we can run out. So that's kind of my issue with questions at this point of the day is that there's just the approach is to middle. It worked out yesterday. It worked out the first slate as well. That's just the way to go. Any important news? So the only news that we got was that the Falcons, we got some confirmation on players that we thought were going to be out, but that really just made me get on Casey Washington a little bit more. We had someone in the chat ask about Austin Mack, which not a player I would tell anyone not to play, but they do go deep. They got James Washington there as well. Hodge is someone that's okay. Like we got some plays. Justin Fields is apparently getting a couple of series. He's not going to play too much. And this is kind of the Steelers' strategy throughout the preseason is that, and we know Russell Wilson's out, but the strategy is typically give your starters 1, 2, 3 series, give them that good look, and then they get out of the game. So I don't actually like the Najee under rush yards. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, Achan's out. We knew that. All right. So we did just get some confirmation here from Miami. All right. So after this, I think, this is the same stuff that we already knew. Yeah. Tua's out, Mostert's out, Achan's out, Tyreek Hill out, Jalen Waddle's out. Oh man, I was excited there. I thought we had some more news, but we already knew that. Oh, wait. Maybe it's just a small list. Oh, it is a small list. Okay, nice. Here we go. Tua is out. We got that. All the tight ends that we thought were going to be out for Miami are out as well. Okay, so again, if you guys watched the DFS video, you already knew this, but Smith is out, and Hill is out. Okay, so that just really means that we should begin to counter. I mean, heck, Ricci's in play, I would say as well. Receiver-wise, and this is why I'm targeting a lot of the Miami receivers. Hill is out, Wall's out, Barrios is out, Anthony Schwartz is out, and Ezekam is out. Guys, Ahmed is out. Okay, that makes more sense. Why Jalen Wright's been getting out. Why did that information take so long? I literally searched this on Twitter like probably 20 times today, especially right after the lines updated. Again, Vegas, they have the news before we do typically. Okay, so Jeff Wilson might be playing. DFS-wise, that could be someone we get to, but that just reaffirms that I want to be on Chris Brooks. I'll be happy to be wrong with that. I think the process is correct. Huge news there, guys, though. Okay, so Ahmed is out. Yes. And I still agree, guys. I still don't think we should be going that heavy on Jalen Wright, but I still will say pick 6. Hammer is over on pick 6. So what do you mean for information? We have the lineup builder for that. Obviously, that is something that updates throughout the day. Information wise, I'm not going to put a write up. I'm just not going to do that. So we got the props tools up there as well. But no, I'm not going to charge people for a write up. But yeah, the lineup builder's there. You can use that. Had decent success with that yesterday. So take advantage of that. I didn't see anything on Chris Blair. So no thoughts. And guys, I do need to get out of here. Apologies. So real quick, let's see. Are we getting any rush props for? So they haven't taken Ahmed off. That's interesting. And then they're giving us a Julian Hill prop, which is fascinating. He's not playing. Let's see here. Any more? No. Okay, guys. So again, I do need to get out of here. I need to make some updates to my lineups as well. Appreciate you guys being here. Good luck with your DFS builds and good luck with your prop bets. Again, pick 6 is definitely, I'm not sponsored by them. Trust me. That's the way to go today. We're just getting some pretty massive edges there. So thank you guys for being here. Good luck with your bets and with your DFS plays. Good luck. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.